The January transfer window is officially over, and Tottenham head coach Jose Mourinho says he is happy with the business that Tottenham have done this month. Welcome back to another video. So it is 11 PM on the 31st of January 2020, and that means that it is now the end of the January transfer window. And Jose Mourinho says he's happy with what he got in January. Weirdly today, he started interviewing himself in his press conference ahead of the Manchester City home game on Sunday. He sat down even before any journalist could ask him any questions. He took to the microphone and said, first question, are you expecting any players until the end of the market? And then he said, first answer, no. He then grinned. He then said, second question, are you happy with your market? And then said, yes, I am. And then laughed. And then said, third question, don't you want a striker? And then laughed. In fairness to Jose Mourinho, he did say in the press conference earlier today, I'm not expecting any players, I'm happy, but I have to answer yes, it would be better with a striker. Yes, we would need a striker to have a better squad to face the challenges ahead. It is important that we are all together on this. We do not want to just have a striker to be helpful now. We want a striker who would be good for us and good for us in our future. So that says to me that he's going to go out and buy a striker in the summer. It just must happen. I'm just worried in the last 4 months of this Premier League season. Of course, we've got FA Cup as well, and we've got the Champions League. All of these very, very important games, and certainly for that that search for the top 4 place as well. All of these very, very important games without a main striker, without Harry Kane. I am worried. I really am. Earlier today, Jose Mourinho was talking to Sky Sports and he said, we signed in a funny way Lloris and Tanganga. In Steven Bergwijn, we have got a kid with an amazing potential and a profile Spurs fans will love. So, in this January transfer window, Tottenham, of course, signed Steven Bergwijn from PSV. He does look a very, very exciting player. Great attacking player. He is only young. He's got 9 caps for Holland so far in his career. Scores lots of goals, assists lots of goals as well. Looks a very, very exciting prospect. And I am very, very excited to see him. The only thing is, of course, he is inexperienced in the Premier League. Jose Mourinho did say today in his press conference that he would be in the squad to face Manchester City. I know, certainly under Pochettino, if we'd have signed a player, it would have probably taken him a month or 2 before he was even in the squad because he'd want his fitness up. But I do love that about Jose Mourinho, the way that he just integrates players straight away, makes very, very bold decisions and just makes it happen. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing Steven Bergwijn, our brand new signing, play on Sunday against Manchester City. Another new signing for Tottenham, this time just a loan deal. Gedson Fernandes. If I'm completely honest, I would have much preferred Bruno Fernandes, who Manchester United have just signed. I know I'm going to probably get some stick for that, but yes, Gedson Fernandes is a young player, but he is another player coming into the Tottenham squad who has got to adapt to the Premier League. He did look completely out of his depth, if I'm completely honest, against Southampton in the FA Cup last weekend. So it would be interesting to see how much game time he gets and how his career pans out, certainly this season at Tottenham. I just wish that we would have signed some bigger names this transfer window. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest. I wish we'd have signed some bigger names. I wish we'd have spent more money and give us Tottenham fans that wow factor. And I think that, yes, although Steven Bergwijn looks a very, very promising young player, and Giovanni Lo Celso has signed a 5-year permanent deal at Tottenham, yes, that's hugely exciting. But yet we have lost Christian Eriksen as a permanent deal as well. So we've had one of our main players go out. And let's not forget, yes, people have slagged off and slated Christian Eriksen for his performances over the last 12 months or so. But before that, he has been our assist king. I was reading a Premier League stat the other day to the amount of Premier League games that Christian Eriksen played for Tottenham. In every 1 out of 2 games, he either scored or assisted in the Premier League. Now, that is a very, very hard act to follow. No matter who's coming in to fill Christian Eriksen's shoes, that is a very, very hard thing to do. So it will be very interesting to see how it will pan out with Steven Bergwijn and Gedson Fernandes. So let's talk a little bit about Giovanni Lo Celso. I was delighted when he signed the 5-year contract at Tottenham. Yet another young, promising player for the future at the club. He has had a fantastic couple of weeks, if I'm completely honest. Against Watford, he was very strong. Against Norwich at home, he was very strong. And then against Southampton in the FA Cup away, a superb performance, a man of the match performance. Just gliding past players, set up Sonny for the goal as well. And it just shows that that is what we have got to come from Giovanni Lo Celso, and I'm hugely excited to watch him in the future. And let's just hope that there is many more goals from him and assists. Of course, Mauricio Pochettino brought him in at the start of the season, initially on a loan, and now we've signed him on a permanent basis. Pochettino started him against Red Star Belgrade in the Champions League. He's had a lot of injuries this season as well. But then he scored in that Champions League game against Red Star away. And then, of course, Giovanni Lo Celso scored the first ever FA Cup goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Middlesbrough. So let's hope that we see a few more goals from Giovanni Lo Celso. So, in the last couple of days, certainly today, Tottenham have been having a major clear out. Lots of players going out on loan. Of course, we know Christian Eriksen went to Inter Milan. Danny Rose yesterday went to Newcastle United on loan until the end of the season. Tashan Oakley-Booth has moved to Stoke City on a permanent deal. Very sad about that one. Every time I've seen Tashan Oakley-Booth play in the development squad, I've always rated him. Thought he was an excellent midfielder, very, very hard-working, and could always assist or set up a goal and score goals as well, which I'm very, very sad to see him go. Obviously, he wanted game time, and he's going to get that at Stoke City, so the best of luck to him. Keziah Sterling, our striker, he's moved on loan to Leyton Orient until the end of the season. Shiloh Tracy has moved to Macclesfield Town until the end of the season on loan. Anthony Giorgio, he was on loan at Ipswich at the start of this season. He has now gone on loan to Bolton Wanderers until the end of the season. TJ Iyoma, he has gone to Lincoln City on loan until the end of the season. Cameron Carter-Vickers, it was announced yesterday that he has now gone on loan to Luton Town. Kyle Walker-Peters, in the last couple of days, went on loan to Southampton. Brandon Austin has gone on loan to Danish team Viborg. Amado Shajoa has gone on loan to Atletico Baleares. And as we know, Jack Clark has gone on loan to QPR. Other loans that have been done before. Luke Amos is still on loan to QPR, and George Marsh is still on loan at Leyton Orient. So lots of loan deals, lots of development players going out, getting fantastic experience. But the only one I'm very sad to see go, as I said, is Tashan Oakley-Booth. So let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section below. So it's the end of the January transfer window, but of course in the summer, Tottenham made 4 signings. Jack Clark, of course, went out on loan to Leeds United. Now he's on loan at QPR, so we haven't seen him in a Spurs shirt yet. Giovanni Lo Celso, who I've spoken about, of course, he, in the last couple of days, signed a 5-year deal at Tottenham. And then we've got Ryan Sessegnon and Tanguy Ndombele. Both of them Frustrating, really. Both of them have had so many injuries since arriving at Tottenham, and it just seems that as Tottenham fans, we haven't seen enough of these two yet. Certainly on Ndombele, very, very frustrating for him and the Tottenham fans, because we seem to see him. He gives us this glimmer of hope. He does something magical on the pitch, plays very, very well for 5-10 minute spells, then gets these injuries. We don't see him for a number of games. Then he comes back for 1 or 2. Then he goes off again. Very, very, very frustrating. Ryan Sessegnon, we have not seen him at his best yet. To think some of his performances for Fulham in the Premier League were very, very impressive. That's why Tottenham were tracking him for so long. But we need to see so much more from Ryan Sessegnon and Tanguy and Ndombele, because it will feel like a new signing in this January transfer window. If we suddenly get them to firing on all cylinders and playing how we know that they can play, it will be hugely exciting going forward. The question that we are all asking ourselves, are we happy with Tottenham's transfer activity in this January transfer window? If I'm completely honest, I'm not that happy with it. Yes, we've signed an exciting player in Bergwijn. Hugely excited to see him play. I don't feel that Celso is a brand new signing in this January transfer window, because he was here anyway. But to not sign a striker in this January transfer window, I am baffled and frustrated. I really am. We are in a position. The Premier League standard has been so poor this season. We have had a very poor season as Tottenham fans, and we are 6 points, only 6 points away from that top 4 place. We needed to invest into a striker to help us get that top 4 place. We're still in the Champions League, last 16, against RB Leipzig. 2 very difficult games coming up, home and away. We are still in the FA Cup. We are still chasing a trophy since 2008, where we won the League Cup. We are chasing the FA Cup, our first FA Cup in 29 years. Are we going to achieve top 4, try and win an FA Cup, and progress in the Champions League without a striker? I am not so sure. I thought that Jose Mourinho, Daniel Levy, the Bald, whoever, I thought that they would pull something out of the bag to bring a striker in, even if it was just a loan deal, even if it was a temporary basis, for us to go forward in all of these 3 competitions without a recognised striker. Even Jose Mourinho has said it himself. Sonny is not a target man. He is not a striker. Lucas Moura exactly the same. They like to play wide. They are not central players, and they are not out-and-out strikers. They cannot hold the ball up like Harry Kane and any other decent striker can. No disrespect to them. They are just not those types of players. Just when we talk about transfers, it is frustrating because in the summer, we let Kieran Trippier go. We didn't replace him. We didn't go out and spend money on a decent right back. We then let Fernando Llorente go. Forget what some people thought of Llorente. Some fans didn't think that he was all that great. Last season, Fernando Llorente had a major part in getting Tottenham to that Champions League final, not only at Manchester City, but also at Ajax. And when you have a player like Fernando Llorente, who you let go, who was a great target man, Harry Kane was out injured for parts of last season and the previous season. Fernando Llorente came in and done a job. He then left and we didn't replace him. That is the big, big downfall. It is not just about this January transfer window. It was about last summer. We had the whole summer to replace Fernando Llorente and we didn't. We have had the whole of January now to replace Fernando Llorente, and we haven't. It is very, very frustrating. So if you remember in the summer, Mauricio Pochettino did say that Tottenham were going to go through a painful rebuild. Now, if you were going through a painful rebuild, can you finish top 4 in the Premier League? Can you go for an FA Cup or a Champions League? There just seems to be so many changes at the club right now. It just seems a weird period of time. Lots of these youth players going out on loan, experienced players, Danny Rose, you know, no matter what people say about them, Danny Rose has been at the club for 13 years. Christian Eriksen has been at the club since 2013, so 7 years. I feel for people like Christian Eriksen because the amount of things he's gone through at the club, and he's left Tottenham Hotspur Football Club trophyless. He has gone out of the club without winning a trophy, and I felt gutted when Pochettino left the club without a trophy because, you know, all of us fans deserve the trophies. These players deserve the trophies for what we've gone through and for what good football we have played under Pochettino. But Pochettino said that there was going to be a painful rebuild. This is certainly a painful rebuild, but it will be even more painful if Tottenham do not reach the top four. I know I go on about top four in most videos that I do, but it is hugely, hugely important to the club. You don't build a brand new stadium like we've got to have Europa League football or no European football whatsoever. Daniel Levy was on the stage with Jose Mourinho only a couple of days before Christmas and said, there's two things I want for Christmas this year. One is finishing in the top four, and two is a trophy. And he's now expecting both of those two things, and we haven't got a striker in this January transfer window. I think that it will be a miracle if that happens. I'm hoping that happens. Of course I am. You know, all of us Tottenham fans want Champions League football next season, but without a striker this January transfer window, and not only to mention that, we've let Danny Rose go. In the left-back position, yes, we've got Ben Davies. He is still out. He will be back soon, but we are playing Tanganga, a left-back, at the moment. So if one of them two get an injury, I think that we've got a problem there. We've let Kyle Walker-Peters go out on loan to Southampton. There's not much cover on the right-back position. There are certain positions that I do worry about if we do get any more injuries this season. So please do let me know all of your thoughts on the January transfer window. Have Tottenham done enough, in your opinion, to secure that top four place? Have we signed the right players? Were there players that you wanted to sign and are gutted that Tottenham didn't? Would you have signed Gareth Bale and paid the extortionate wages that he wanted to come back to the club? And do you think that Tottenham will sign a decent, recognised striker in the summer? The rebuild, of course, will continue in the summer under Jose Mourinho. It will be interesting to see how much money he will have to spend. But please do let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section below. I'll be doing the match preview, Tottenham v Manchester City tomorrow. So do look out for that, and come on you Spurs.